You're watching TVC News at 7. Let's turn our attention to business now. The Murtala Mohammed International Airport Customs Command has issued a call for international traders and travelers to strictly adhere to the country's laws. This comes in the wake of recent interceptions involving contraband items raising significant security concerns. A correspondent TVC's reporter, Ifunanya, is a report.
It's the first time in the annals of this command that in the month of December 2023,
in the first briefing of 2024, Comptroller Charles Obi highlights the achievements of the command in 2023. Unveiling the revenue scorecard, he discloses surpassing the 2023 revenue target, remitting 30.5 billion naira and surpassing collections in 2022 by 9.6 billion naira.
The target set for last year was 29 billion 148 million 944,769 naira 82 kobo, and we surpassed it by 5%, representing 1 billion 354 million 562,629 naira 20 kobo.
Seizures include a range of items such as military and other security wares, elephant talks, and multiple high-capacity drones illegally imported into the country.
When a drone that is supposed to be accepted in the country without the presentation of an end-user certificate, the capacity is supposed to not be above 250 grams. Then the one that is above 250 grams, you must go to the Office of the National Security Advisor to get your end-user certificate. This is about the biggest drone that I've ever seen. And with this drone, it has the capacity of carrying weapons. You can use it for war. That is to tell you why it is absolutely necessary for the federal government to put a stop, to look for a way to put a stop to some of these drones coming into this country.
Comptroller Obi also issued a stern warning against customs officers collaborating in trade contravention, emphasizing severe sanctions for those found culpable. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
And away from there now, Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Abubakar Okiari, says round-tripping activities that affect fair distribution of inputs need to be tackled. The minister, who made this known in a meeting with Jigawa State Governor Mr. Umar Namadi, says this is necessary to ensure the success of the country's agricultural transformation agenda. He also added that more stringent distribution measures will now be implemented for forthcoming farming season. Rafalanya reports.
Late last year, the dry season wheat farming under the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket Project was flagged off by the agriculture authorities in Jigawa State. The initiative, with an expected annual wheat production yield of over 1.2 million tons, is being implemented against the backdrop of government's proactiveness towards addressing food insecurity.
The ministry is focused on ramping up massive production of stable crops using technology and mechanization to achieve this goal. We are grateful for the support and guidance of Mr. President as we work towards a more food-secure Nigeria.
The Jigawa State government has now come to give an update on the performance of the wheat farming exercise.
We have done 36,708,000 hectares. That's the official one. This is in addition to another 5,000 we have done for Nigerian flour mills. Also in addition to about 3,870 done by individual farmers. So on the aggregate, we have close to 50,000 hectares of wheat now in Jigawa State.
The agriculture authorities highlight challenges that inhibit effective distribution of inputs to farmers. They emphasize the need to tackle limitations like round-tripping and poor farmer validation.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is fully committed to addressing the issues of round-tripping and poor validation of farmers' data to ensure transparent distribution and target genuine farmers. Collaboration with states local governments, traditional rulers, NGOs, farmer associations, and relevant MDAs will be crucial in achieving the desired objectives.
The plan is now to put in place measures in the forthcoming dry and wet season farming for rice, maize, and cassava, which will commence this month. This is to ensure transparent distribution and ensure deserving farmers benefit. The agricultural authorities pledged their commitment to actualizing the president's renewed hope agenda by way of agricultural transformation, enhancing food security, and pushing down food inflation. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
And now the first week of the new year has witnessed rising and consistent support for high-yielding stocks at the NGX. We now turn to market editor Ifeanyi Eko for detailed reports.
A strong wave of price jumps hits the stocks of many quoted firms, setting them on attractive gaining streaks. The expectations of dividends from business deals crossed in 2023 by the various companies give incentives to stock picks. Looking at weekend transactions, trade index crossed 2.11% to emphasize strong gaining sentiments in the markets. It was Dangote Cement that led the way with over 5% price value advantage following investors' renewed interest in the equity. Other big firms with attention from investors were Access Holding, ETI, First Bank Holding, and Custodian Insurance. The opposite windows of business showed trade losers, which included Dangote Sugar, Computer Warehouse Group, Kebeton Aviation, Academic Press, and African Prudential Insurance. Market analysts say that there exists chances for further jumps in prices of stocks in the coming weeks. Ifeanyi Eko, TVC News, Lagos.
Let's now take a look at the global equities trading for today as Asian stock wobbled today, keeping global equities on track to snap a 9-week winning streak while the dollar was poised for its strongest weekly advance since mid-July as bets on aggressive Federal Reserve rate cuts were rolled back. MSCI's Broadex Index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan eased 0.1% in the Asian morning, with Hong Kong's Hang Seng slipping by 0.18%. The MSCI's World Index was flat so far on the day, but heading for a 1.7% decline this week. Japan's Nikkei was something of an outlier, bouncing by 0.5% as exporters got a boost from the yen slide back amid a rise in U.S. Treasury yields. Wall Street's S&P 500 retreated by 0.34%, taking its losses this week to 1.7%, setting up its first weekly decline since late October. And in the morning market, the dollar steadies today, heading for its strongest weekly performance since July on expectations of early interest rate cuts this year ahead of U.S. payrolls data. U.S. currency's strongest start casts a shadow on the Japanese yen, with the Asian currency down by 2.5% against the dollar in the first week of the year, its weakest weekly performance since August 2022. The yen, which is highly sensitive to U.S. yields, weakened by 0.04% to 144.7 per dollar after touching a more than 3-week low of 144.95 earlier in the session. In other currencies, the euro was down 0.08% to $1.09, snapping a run of 3 weeks of gains, while sterling was later changed at $1.27, but still on course for a small decline for the week. The Australian and New Zealand dollars were headed for their first weekly drop in a month, with the Aussie at 67 cents, while the Kiwi at 62 cents. And following an accusation by the U.S. labor agency that SpaceX has unlawfully fired 8 employees, the rocket and satellite maker has sued the U.S. Labor Board. SpaceX, in the lawsuit filing Brownsville, a Texas federal court, claims the structure of the National Labor Relations Board, which issued a complaint against the company, violates the U.S. Constitution. The National Labor Relations Board alleges SpaceX violated federal labor law by firing 8 workers in 2022. The case will be heard by an administrative judge and a 5-member board appointed by the U.S. President. And let's take a look at the global oil market now. Crude prices urged higher earlier today after minutes from a Federal Reserve meeting suggested inflation was under control. And as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken prepared to visit the Middle East to try and prevent the Israel-Gaza conflict from widening. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose to sell at $72.60 per barrel with an uptick of 0.68%. Brent crude futures also experienced an upward price margin of 0.5%, selling at $77.98 per barrel. And Bonneland recorded a price decline of 1.91%, selling at $77.37 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers are offering $76.86 per barrel, with a downward price reveal of 1.81%.